Hello, good day, and welcome to Transportation Agenda magazine, where we x-ray issues in the transportation sector. My name is Abike Awojobi, and today we have a new twist, that is, looking at government policies and plans through the eyes of a citizen. My guest today is a respected media practitioner who has used his voice as well as his lens to capture everyday realities of the citizens. It's my pleasure to welcome Mr. Olumide Iyanda to the program. Good day, sir.
Good day. Thank you very much, Abike, for having me.
Thank you. The pleasure is all mine. So let's start. You're a media practitioner, and over the years, like I said, you've used your voice as well as your lens to capture the realities of everyday Nigerians. So tell me, what would you say is the state of transportation in the country?
Well, it's ever evolving. It's changing. Now let me do a caveat. Like you said, I'm not talking as a transport expert. I'm just talking like as an everyday citizen. It's changing.
Okay.
Maybe it could be faster, but at least we are not where we used to be. So for that, that's positive for me.
Okay. Now you're a media practitioner, and over the years, you've seen how citizens interpret government policies. When it comes to the issue of transportation policies that you know of, do you think that our citizens fully understand what the government is doing, or do you think there is a disconnect between the message and the government and the citizens?
I think it's the citizens don't really fully understand. And that's also not because the government is not doing enough to push its agenda. I just think that over the years, there's been this maybe lack of trust.
Lack of trust?
Yes, Nigerians generally don't believe they trust the government. So we are doing as much as you can. They will just say it is not happening. So it's a two-way thing. The government the government has a transportation ministry at all levels, and maybe because I'm in the media, I hear some of these things. I know about the policies. I know about what they are doing to push out this agenda. But if you ask the person on the street, the person will tell you that he's not aware.
So beyond lack of trust, is there any other reason? Is it that they don't want to get informed, or they're not accessing the right platforms where they could get this information?
Because most of the time you already shut your mind, so we are not even listening. So maybe because you shut your mind. I'm not saying that the government is doing excellently well, but I know, I'm talking as a media person, that they actually push this thing. In Lagos, for instance, there's a traffic radio, which is 24-hour broadcast dedicated to the transport sector in Lagos. You found out that a lot of people would be beyond traffic management, knowing where there's traffic, where there's
to get traffic updates.
Apart from the traffic updates, they may not know about the other things. And those guys are talking about this in 24/7. Okay, now I'm also guilty. I don't listen to traffic radio as much as I used to. But those days when I used to, they bring everybody from maritime, aviation, road, and all of that.
And they still do.
So, but if you ask people, they'll still tell you. You know, some of the people who listen to the program, they'll tell you that they don't know these things. So what the government can actually do, the government will not rest or give up. They just continue. That's just it.
Interesting perspective. I want to know what you think should be the government's top priorities when it comes to transportation in the country.
Infrastructure, and then.
Can they break it down?
Okay, now. So if you don't have the right infrastructure in place, it will be difficult to manage traffic. If the roads are not good, there will be traffic. If there is flood, there will be traffic. If you do not have the right road furniture, if you do not have all the markings and all of those things, you need that. You need infrastructure, then you need, what will I say, apart from that, then you need management. LASMA, the likes, and, okay, for instance, the Blue Road in Lagos State is infrastructure.
Yes.
If you are going to move that amount of people, that number of people, you need that infrastructure to be there.
Yes.
If you are going to, because let me give you an example. I was in Lagos before the coming of LASMA. I said to people that the best thing Tinubu did as governor of Lagos State was actually LASMA.
Introduction of LASMA.
If you knew how Lagos was in terms of traffic management,
wow,
it was bad. So, but beyond doing LASMA, they also did road. They did the Oda Olegu road. If you knew how Olegu road was, Those of us who knew how the good road was. So they don't throw things. Infrastructure, they fix the road, then they put last mile there. So that if you are traveling on a Legun road, you know that if you're on the right, that turning, you can't go straight if you know the structure of that road very well. So that's a snapshot of how you manage this thing. Infrastructure and management, enforcement.
So you mentioned infrastructure, management, and enforcement. How good do you think the government is doing when it comes to enforcement of transportation issues in the country? So we're narrowing it down to Lagos because we're in Lagos, obviously. So what do you think the government is doing when it comes to enforcement of transportation issues in the
government is doing badly.
Wow.
I would just say that the government can't come after me, a private car owner, and leave the corrupt people to break the law, and leave the downfall people to break the law. The government can't come after me and leave the officials to break the law. And when I'm saying government, I'm talking about the people who have been assigned to enforce these things.
Okay.
So, look, it's almost impossible. Everybody knows that if there's a problem with my car, I'm most likely going to be in trouble. If I'm caught with, there's this joke between us and that. How come, how many downfall, how many corrupt do you see go for checks like regular cars? How many downfall drivers use, wear glasses? You can't tell me that their sights are as good as almost everybody. I can't remember ever seeing any downfall driver. But beyond that, it's just that, look, I don't think the government is doing enough in terms of enforcement. The people on the road are not doing well enough. The people in authority are not doing well enough. I'm going to give you an example. Fashola, when he was governor, stopped the use of siren. That's personal leading by example. Since then, I'm not sure any governor has used siren in Lagos. That's what happens when you lead by example and you enforce properly. So in terms of enforcement, maybe because of combination of several factors, I don't think we are doing enough.
Interesting. Okay, but I'm sure that the government is listening. And like you rightly said, you're not putting the blame on the government as it is on the top, but those that have been assigned with responsibilities to ensure that transportation management takes place effectively. Do you think the government is doing well enough when it comes to inclusivity in its transportation policies for the vulnerable in the society, say the elderly, the disabled, pregnant women and all? Do you think the government is doing well enough?
I think it is. It could be better because part of the enlightenment, I take it back to the days of listening to traffic radio. And I'm sorry to my friends in traffic radio that I don't listen as I used to, because you hear about all of these things. They talk about, there's even, you hear about all this stuff. In terms of implementation, maybe because I'm not as affected as somebody who is vulnerable.
Okay.
I may not know as much, but I think compared to other places, Lagos is not doing badly. At least there are seats in public transportation that are reserved for people who are people who are vulnerable. Whether Lagosians listen is another thing. That's why I always say to you that when we talk in terms of enforcement it's everybody's business. If you don't play your own part, someone who probably won't come from outside to come and say what's that things. So yeah, the government I think they are trying.
You are a native of Ogbomoso.
Yes, I have a Ogbomoso. Kind of family, so this for the beautiful city of Ogbomoso.
That's great. I don't know when last you visited your hometown.
It's been a while.
So from the reports you get, or let me say, there's this comparison. How would you say is the relationship between urban transportation and rural transportation? What could be done to enhance, rural transportation to bring it up to speed with that of urban transportation, say like a place in Lagos?
Okay. Number one, Lagos is not rural. Your Ogbomoso is not rural, so Ogbomoso is urban transportation. But again, Well, you just keep evolving. You keep bringing development to those places. If a place is rural, by nature, the infrastructure around there won't be as big, won't be as extensive as what you have in urban area. The movement of people won't be as much. Okay, so if you are doing transportation now, if you are doing a plan, the plan will be different. To bring it up to speed, just do the same thing. Do development that is area specific, that fits that area, and enforce your laws.
So, as a media practitioner, over the years, you've seen how citizens engage with government policies. When it comes to transportation issues, how well should citizens, or what role should they play in ensuring that transportation policies are done in their favor? How well can they be a part of the policy formulation, coming from a media angle?
I think to engage the government more and trust the government more. When you trust the government more, you are willing to engage with them and pass your message along. It's easy for us to, if you've been listening to me, I've been saying good and areas that are challenges. I think we just communicate and trust the government. That's just it. I've lived in Lagos for so long, and I've witnessed a lot of improvements. I've witnessed tremendous developments in the area and it's in several sectors, and several modes of transportation. So engage the government. Lagos luckily has a government that listens because of the cosmopolitan nature. Engage and also encourage.
We're in a digital era. What's the role of social media in critiquing government policies?
In critiquing, just say what you know, say what you feel. These days, it's almost everybody can get the attention of those in authority. So if it's working, if it's not working, let them know.
Say what you know, say what you feel, or speak the facts.
And it's the facts now. But you see, when you talk facts is actually is relative. What is fact to you may not be fact to me, right? So whosoever says, for instance, now that you are living somewhere and your reality is different from somebody who lives, just say what you know. That's just what I'm going to say. Just say what you know. Just say what you know. Yeah, what you know.
When governments put in a whole lot of infrastructure to ensure road safety, to ensure better roads, what advice will you give citizens to support government policies when it comes to road safety, for example, better vehicles on the roads? How well would you encourage them to key into these government policies?
You key into it by being aware. I think you should be aware and see public property like your property. Treat what you see what is provided as your own property. How will you treat this thing if you are the one buying it? If you are the one buying the street lights, how will you treat it? If you are the one doing the median on the road, how will you do it? And it's a no-brainer. Obey traffic rules. It's easier to move around if you obey traffic rules. Look, I've said it before. The government of Lagos, in terms of policy, in terms of agenda, they are doing very well. I'm sure some people may be wondering, why is this man saying this? Because I've lived through several eras in Lagos, and I know when traffic in Lagos was very bad, when transportation was bad. Of course, I also lived in the era of LSTC, the era of Jakonde buses, and which moved people. Over the years, the realities, the dynamics have changed. So for people, my own advice will be treat government properties and government policies as a key stakeholder.
Very good. Thank you so much for your insights. This final question. What would you say would be the outlook of transportation in the country? We are going intermodal and a whole lot of developments are coming in place when it comes to linking our modes of transportation. What What optimism level do you share when it comes to the country having a fully integrated multimodal transport system?
I think if we plan ahead, like the government appears to be doing, it will be well. I believe that we shouldn't plan for transportation for today. We should plan transportation for the future. It gives for optimism. All this transportation model that is coming up, linking different states, linking different cities. That is, and we are talking. I started by talking about infrastructure.
Yes.
If you do all of this and put this thing in place, it helps. I can give you examples of areas that have benefited from being opened up, and I can also give you example of areas that are lagging behind economically in a lot of ways because they've not been opened up. So it's all these plans. If the government can go through with them, I think that there's a lot to look forward to and to be positive about. I'm happy. I'll be happy to see the government do that. So I'm not one of those who mock the government for spending money on these things. I don't see them as white elephants, as long as you do them well and you deliver them on time.
And there's one piece of advice you'd like to give the government on what they should do to enhance transportation in the country. What would it be?
Don't plan for today. Plan for the future.
Wow. And with that, we wrap up this edition of Transportation Agenda Magazine. Thank you so much. We've been speaking with Mr. Olumide Iyanda, a respected media practitioner. He has given us insight from the citizens' view on transportation policies in the country. Thank you so much. Please don't forget to like, to follow us across our social media platforms, and as well as subscribe to our YouTube channel. So we'll come your way again next time. Please do have a nice day. Bye. Transportation Agenda Magazine. Export review on land, aviation, maritime, rail, and pipeline. We deliver data-driven analysis, exclusive interviews with key decision makers, and early alerts on transportation projects across Nigeria. Subscribe today. Get a copy of Transportation Agenda Magazine.